Hi, and welcome to this episode of Adtastic. I'm your host, Tony Stanall, and we are talking to Geoff Nelson today. Geoff is a strategist and a longtime marketing guy in Austin, Texas. And welcome, Geoff.
Thanks, Tony. Great to be here. Sounds like you've been having a lot of interesting conversations today.
Absolutely. We talk to all kinds of people, and I'd love to hear about your backstory. You know, what got you into strategy, and what was your career trajectory?
Yeah, and actually, it's I'm an Air Force brat, so I grew up in Germany. And the funny thing about European television is the commercials are all condensed to the top of the hour, and so you get 1 or 2, maybe 3 minutes of commercials, and they were tiny, little, powerful stories that people would tell, and they weren't always ads. Sometimes they were parables or different things. But I fell in love with storytelling from that, and when we moved back to the States, I got a huge culture shock. I didn't know what basketball was, really. I'd never played football, a bunch of things. And so coming to the American culture, I kind of came in as a new person in middle school, and was able to really assess and kind of look at things, and kept my love of storytelling, moved towards advertising. I've been in radio, I've done TV, I've done writing, all kinds of different things. But mainly what drives me is finding the story in something and telling it in such a way as to, have somebody take an action.
Gotcha. And in our preliminary conversation, you mentioned something about the theSolidBrand. Could you explain a little about what that is?
Yeah, so that happened about the time COVID started. I'd been kind of looking around at what's going on with strategy. I've started and ran a social media influencer company before they were cool. Started in 2006, ran that for 10 years. Have run a virtual company when we had just a cell phone and email and free conference call. And so the theSolidBrand really came about we have pushed so far into digital. Digital has no mass. It has no heft. It has no weight. It's bits stored on a server somewhere. And what I'm seeing starting to happen with Gen Alpha, if you follow generational things, and just humans in general, is digital hasn't changed. I was watching the movie Hackers, and that's kind of what was the inspiration for all this. Came out in 1992 or 95, somewhere around there. But the funny thing is all of the technology, all the hacking, VR, everything that they have in that movie has not changed. Period.
Wow.
It may be a little faster. We may have, we've delved into, okay, well, you can do 140 characters instead of typing a full post. I mean, we're just splitting hairs in terms of what we're doing with digital. And I'm seeing things start to move back towards the physical world, towards a physical brand where it's about positioning and not, I've got a content strategy, I've got a marketing strategy, I've got an email strategy. It's like, no, there's one strategy and there's one thing you've got to go build.
I'm hearing a lot of blowback. There's a wave of it about the fixation on micro minutia and data, little dots.
Yeah, and I actually got to spend what Intel was a client of mine. I got to spend an entire weekend with data scientists out in San Francisco, and to listen to them going, yeah, half the time we don't know what we're doing. Our models break. We'll get down to where we think we have conclusions and realize that we didn't move a decimal point or we asked the wrong question the wrong way. So as much data and power as we have to analyze it, we're still really no closer to having true understanding kind of much of anything. But we're getting there. And it's not to say I'm like curmudgeon going, data's bad, but in terms of what marketing has done, we've become machinists. We are, I was listening in as I was getting ready for this interview, talking about, how do people get into this business and what do they do? Well, you've got to hit the ground with your feet running. You've got to understand all the social channels, all the technology, how to run a PC, how phones work, how all the stuff. And advertising at its base and core is telling a story about a company to a consumer. But we're machinists as slave to the social machines. And all we do all day is go in and tinker and optimize and perfect with our wrenches and tools. And to me, that's not advertising. That's playing in somebody else's arena where they set the rules, set the prices, and then change them constantly.
Gotcha. Well, it's an interesting topic, Geoff, and it was so much fun having you here today. Come back and join us another time.
Thanks, Tony. I appreciate it.
And thank you for joining us on this episode of Adtastic. To find out more about Geoff Nelson, just go to dailyadbrief.com. We'll see you next time.
Simplify presents Addressable CTV, combining the power of TV with the targeting and attribution of digital. Simplify's Addressable CTV delivers massive reach with the ability to scale without sacrificing precision. TV buyers can generate incremental reach with household-level targeting, frequency controls, reporting, and insights. To learn more about Simplify's Addressable CTV and what it can do for your clients, visit simply.fi.